This time we want to talk about the fundamentals of computer networking and why the Huawei controversy. As you know, the UK government granted the Chinese company called Huawei to build its 5G network. This has come after a year of posturing over whether the Chinese company's equipment should be allowed to operate in the UK networks. The controversy arose from the company's links to the Chinese government, which those against the idea believe would use backdoors to install products that will allow it to spy on network traffic. The question is China really a hostile nation? Not at all. China has become insistent on its rights, and its attitude has changed to that of self-confidence. So there is nowhere that points to China as being a hostile nation. So the UK government decided, yes, Huawei should be allowed to build its 5G network. But here we are not discussing on whether China should be allowed or not. What we want to explore is those arguments against and those arguments for. So what actually is computer networking? This is a process of building connections between systems for the purpose of sharing information. The network allows data movement from one place to another. Understanding of the network depends on the perspectives. Network models functions as the blueprints or architecture of the network, defining the components, the processes as they work together, and a comprehensive set of documents define the individual functions of a computer network, which will include protocols, which are the logical rules that devices must follow to communicate, the physical requirements, and application interaction. Today, the world uses a single networking model known as TCP/IP. Originally, networking models didn't exist, and many vendors created their own proprietary offerings, and the result meant that systems from different vendors couldn't communicate with one another. The International Organization for Standardization created the OSI model, whose goal was to standardize network communications and data protocols to provide a global communication. Today, the OSI is relevant for reference purposes. The TCP/IP is relevant in all situations. And the UK government has based their decision on the fact that Huawei infrastructure will not have access to core infrastructure of the UK networks. What does this mean? The facilities and devices used for the core or backbone networks are usually the routers and switches, and the technologies for the core are mainly network and data link layer technologies. And what do they offer? They offer authentication and determines whether a user demanding a service is permitted to complete the task. So what is actually the TCP? The TCP/IP defines a large collection of protocols that allows computers to communicate with one another, and the core protocols include TCP, UDP, and IP, and others. Those application protocols enable programs to interact with the network. To assist in understanding the network models, a layered approach is used. So we have the application layer, the transport layer, the internet, the link, and physical data link. The application layer provides networking services to computer programs and acts as an interface to the underlying networking model and protocols. The transport layer exists to assist application layer protocols to provide services to those protocols such as error recovery and sequencing (TCP/UDP). The network layer has a number of smaller protocols, but only one is predominant and known as IP, Internet Protocol, and provides a number of services up to layer protocols, mainly addressing and routing. That's the delivery of packets. For instance, if we take the analogy of a postal service, you write your letter, put a stamp, sends it to the post office. You don't care how it will reach your destination. All you need to do is address your letter, put the required stamp. The postal service has the job of delivering your letter. So the network layer has that purpose. So the data link layer and the physical defines protocols as hardware that are required in order to deliver physical data across the network. It provides services to upper layers in order to ensure proper delivery. The link layer protocol packages the data to ensure delivery to the next stop without being concerned about the ultimate destination, and use two concepts, encapsulation and de-encapsulation. The link layer consists of 4 steps to send packets from source computer to the next hop. Encapsulation encapsulates the IP packet inside an Ethernet frame, physically transmit the frame using electricity over Ethernet cabling, and the receiving end physically receives the electricity and recreates the bits through interpretation, that is at the destination system. So de-encapsulation, the IP packet, it de-encapsulates the IP packet from inside the frame, that's the destination system. The link layer inclusion large number of protocols which correspond to different networking architecture. That is Ethernet or fast Ethernet, a gigabit, and wireless WAN standards. So really, in order to understand why someone would grant a foreign company to install products whom other people believe would be bad business for others, it's a complicated story. We are taking it from our own cyber security perspective, that really, even though you have access to certain bits of the system, you will not have access to the core networks, which the UK government thinks Huawei will not have. Thanks for listening, and tune in for more.